What happens when raw talent, controversy, and the brutal honesty of Stephen A. Smith collide? You get one of the most explosive moments in women's basketball history. Recently, Angel Reese, one of the most polarizing stars in the WNBA, pulled yet another stunt that had fans divided, critics outraged, and the media buzzing. But this time, it wasn't just fans weighing in. ESPN's own Stephen A. Smith, known for his unapologetic takes and no-holds-barred commentary, stepped into the fire with a scorching takedown. And let's just say he didn't hold back. In a heated monologue, Stephen A. not only called out Reese for her actions, but delivered a stinging comparison that cut deep. "You are no Caitlin Clark." Those words echoed across sports media, sparking debates about greatness, hype, and the future of the WNBA. So, what exactly did Angel Reese do to provoke such a harsh reaction? And why did Stephen A. decide this was the moment to humble her? Today, we're breaking it all down, from the controversial stunt to Reese's growing reputation to the larger debate about Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. Buckle up, because this one gets fiery. The stunt that sparked it all. Angel Reese is no stranger to controversy, but her latest stunt might just be the most talked about yet. During a heated matchup, Reese's on-court antics crossed the line from competitive spirit to what many saw as pure disrespect. She exaggerated celebrations, taunted opponents, and made gestures that immediately went viral for all the wrong reasons. Now, in sports, showmanship isn't new. It's part of the game. Fans flooded social media. Some defended Reese, saying she was just playing with passion. But others saw it as immaturity, especially when compared to rising stars like Caitlin Clark, who have made their mark through consistent dominance on the court. This is where Stephen A. Smith entered the picture. Known for calling out what others are afraid to say, he saw this moment not as harmless fun, but as a problem for Reese's career and perhaps even for the WNBA's image. The stunt was fuel. Stephen A. was the match. Stephen A. Smith steps in. When Stephen A. Smith speaks, the sports world listens. His larger-than-life presence on ESPN's First Take has made him both feared and respected. And when the Angel Reese controversy hit headlines, he didn't mince words. Smith opened by acknowledging Reese's undeniable talent. "She's got game," he said. "Nobody can deny that." But within seconds, he pivoted to criticism. He argued that Reese's antics weren't just distracting, they were self-sabotaging. Then came the line that instantly went viral. "You are no Caitlin Clark." It was a brutal comparison. By invoking Caitlin Clark, Stephen A. drew a stark line between two of the WNBA's most talked-about players. One, a rookie already breaking records, filling arenas, and winning over fans with her performance. The other, Reese, whose name was trending more for controversy than consistency. For Smith, the issue wasn't personal, it was about perception. He argued that while Clark elevates the game, Reese risks dragging it down with unnecessary theatrics. The message was clear. If Angel Reese wants to be remembered as a star, she has to focus on basketball, not antics. The sports world exploded. Fans argued. Analysts debated. But one thing was certain. Stephen A. had struck a nerve. Angel Reese. Talent meets controversy. To understand why Stephen A.'s comments hit so hard, you have to look at the duality of Angel Reese's career. On one hand, she's incredibly talented. Nicknamed the Bayou Barbie, she dominated at LSU, leading her team to a national championship. Her charisma, confidence, and edge made her a fan favorite and a headline magnet. But with that fame came controversy. Reese's fiery personality often spilled into moments that critics called unprofessional. Whether it was trash talk, over-the-top celebrations, or social media spats, Reese seemed to thrive on confrontation as much as competition. This dual reputation, part star, part lightning rod, is what makes her so polarizing. Supporters see her as unapologetically authentic, someone who brings energy and attention to the game. Detractors argue she's immature, overshadowing her skills with unnecessary drama. Stephen A. wasn't attacking her talent, he was questioning her approach. By comparing her to Caitlin Clark, he highlighted the gap between showmanship and sustained excellence. Clark's highlight reels featured deep threes and dazzling assists. Reese's often feature post-game arguments or viral gestures. And in a league fighting for respect, Stephen A. suggested Reese's brand of controversy could do more harm than good. Caitlin Clark, the standard of greatness. Why did Stephen A. invoke Caitlin Clark's name? Simple, because Clark has quickly become the measuring stick for women's basketball. From her historic college career at Iowa to her rookie season in the WNBA, Clark has consistently proven she's not just hype, she's history in the making. Clark's game is electric. Her deep shooting range, court vision, and poise under pressure have made her must-see TV. Every arena she steps into sells out. Every broadcast featuring her shatters ratings. In a league hungry for stars, Clark is the brightest one yet. But it's not just her skill, it's her demeanor. While she's fiery and competitive, Clark rarely lets the spotlight shift away from the game itself. Her highlights speak louder than her words. Her impact is undeniable. That's why Stephen A. dropped the comparison. By saying, "You are no Caitlin Clark," he wasn't simply hyping Clark, he was pointing out the difference between making headlines for performance versus making them for antics. For Reese, the sting was real. Because whether fair or not, Clark's rise casts a long shadow. Why is passion celebrated in male athletes but criticized in women? One fan tweeted. To them, Reese's antics were simply part of her personality, the same fire that made her a champion at LSU. On the flip side, critics felt Stephen A. was right on the money. They argued that Reese's antics draw negative attention to a league that desperately needs positive momentum. Caitlin Clark is putting women's basketball on the map, one commenter wrote. Reese needs to stop fighting the spotlight and start earning it. The debate grew beyond just Reese versus Clark. It became a cultural flashpoint about how female athletes are perceived, marketed, and judged. Are fiery personalities unfairly policed? Or are some players genuinely crossing lines that hurt the game? Either way, Stephen A. had forced the conversation into the mainstream. And for better or worse, Angel Reese was at the center of it all, exactly where she both loves and hates to be. Media narratives, fueling the fire. The sports media loves drama, and Angel Reese provides it in abundance. Every stunt, every controversial quote, every bold celebration becomes fuel for endless talk shows, podcasts, and Twitter threads. But here's the catch. When the media hypes up controversy, it often overshadows the actual basketball being played. Reese could drop 20 points and 10 rebounds, but if she taunts an opponent afterward, that's the clip that makes headlines. Stephen A. Smith knows this cycle better than anyone. He thrives on it. But his criticism was unique because it wasn't about tearing Reese down for clicks. It was a challenge. He was saying, if you want to be remembered as great, stop letting the noise define you. Meanwhile, the constant comparisons to Caitlin Clark only intensify the narrative. Media outlets frame it as a rivalry, even when Clark herself remains focused on the game. Reese, on the other hand, often fuels the storylines with her reactions. The pressure of stardom. It's easy to forget that Angel Reese is still early in her professional career. At just 22, she's juggling fame, expectations, and criticism on a scale most athletes never face. That pressure can break even the strongest competitors. Every mistake becomes a headline. Every gesture becomes a meme. And every comparison to Caitlin Clark becomes a reminder that Reese is not the league's chosen face. Media narratives, fueling the fire. The sports media loves drama, and Angel Reese provides it in abundance. Every stunt, every controversial quote, every bold celebration becomes fuel for endless talk shows, podcasts, and Twitter threads. But here's the catch. When the media hypes up controversy, it often overshadows the actual basketball being played. Reese could drop 20 points and 10 rebounds, but if she taunts an opponent afterward, that's the clip that makes headlines. Stephen A. Smith knows this cycle better than anyone. He thrives on it. But his criticism was unique because it wasn't about tearing Reese down for clicks. It was a challenge. He was saying, if you want to be remembered as great, stop letting the noise define you. Meanwhile, the constant comparisons to Caitlin Clark only intensify the narrative. Media outlets frame it as a rivalry, even when Clark herself remains focused on the game. Reese, on the other hand, often fuels the storylines with her reactions. The pressure of stardom. It's easy to forget that Angel Reese is still early in her professional career. At just 22, she's juggling fame, expectations, and criticism on a scale most athletes never face. That pressure can break even the strongest competitors. Every mistake becomes a headline. Every gesture becomes a meme. And every comparison to Caitlin Clark becomes a reminder that Reese is not the league's chosen face. Reese's next move. So, where does Angel Reese go from here? That's the million-dollar question. She has two options: double down on the antics, embrace the villain role, and continue feeding controversy, or refocus, mature, and let her game do the talking. Both paths have worked for athletes in the past, but only one builds lasting respect. If Reese chooses the first, she'll always have an audience. There's no denying that drama sells. But will it make her a legend of the game? Unlikely. Villains are remembered, but rarely celebrated. If she chooses the second, the sky's the limit. Reese has the size, skill, and charisma to be a cornerstone of the WNBA. Paired with Caitlin Clark's star power, the league could explode in popularity, with both women leading the charge. Stephen Yes' comments may have been harsh, but they were also a gift, a wake-up call. Few athletes get the chance to change their narrative in real time. Reese has that chance. The ball is in her court, literally and figuratively. The bigger picture. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about Stephen A. Smith, Angel Reese, or even Caitlin Clark. It's about the evolution of women's basketball. For years, critics claimed the WNBA lacked drama, stars, and storylines. Now it has them in abundance. Reese brings fire. Clark brings brilliance. And the league sits on the edge of a cultural breakthrough. But how that breakthrough unfolds depends on choices, by the players, by the league, and by the media. Will it be remembered as the era where women's basketball finally took its rightful place in the spotlight?